Today on the Wire to Wire podcast, we get into the MLB midseason awards. I give you my AL and NL MVPs along with the Cy Youngs and my most surprising and disappointing players and teams. Next on the Wire to Wire podcast. All right, welcome back. You're listening to the Wire to Wire podcast. I'm your host, Jacob Smethers. Today, we have back for a third time my brother Cody. We're going to talk some MLB stuff, but I want to start off today by obviously, I say on the show multiple times that this is sports and only the sports. I don't like to get political. I think a lot of sports shows are getting too far towards into the politics. I mean, you've seen it over the last few days. I understand what you've got to cover, but at the end of the day, you're paid to talk sports. So on my sports show, it's going to be sports and only sports, but you have to address what's going on with all the protests and the NBA deciding not to play for a second straight day. They didn't play yesterday. They're not, and then they're not playing today. MLB 7 games today, 3 last night. Decided not to play. At the end of the day, it's their choice. It's 100% their choice. If they don't want to play, it's their right as Americans not to play. They're not forced to play ever. No player's ever forced to play a game. So if they don't want to play, both teams agreed to postpone it. It is what it is. Whether you agree with it or not, it is what it is, and that's all I'm going to say about it. But we're going to talk some baseball because they are back playing today. A lot of games, and I told you last week that we're at the halfway point. We're just over the halfway point for a lot of these teams. So we're going to get into our halfway award show, and we're going to break down the Cy Youngs from the ANL, MVPs, and just kind of break down what we're seeing halfway through the baseball season. Now, I'm a Giants fan. My brother's a Yankees fan, so it's going to be very, I'm going to push his buttons. He's going to push mine. This is how it's going to go, okay? Because
it's a painful year
for both of us. Yes. So, but my team is in the playoff mix right now. We are actually, with the expanded playoffs, the Giants are the last team in right now.
Yeah, they fourth place, holding strong.
They are 7, okay. You know what? This is going to be a long podcast, boys. So let's get into it. All right, so we're going to start off with the Cy Young Awards, all right? So just so you know, if you're not really big into baseball, it's not like basketball or football where it's just one MVP. There is an AL and an NL for pretty much every award because the different way they play most years. This year they're all playing by the same set of rules due to COVID, so there's DHs in both leagues, and it's actually made for an extremely exciting brand of baseball, and you've seen it around the high scores. Most teams don't really have an ace, but there are some aces out there. So let's start off at the top. We're going to start off with Cy Youngs, all right?
Yeah.
So obviously with the AL Cy Young, you're looking at basically one or two people here.
There's not a lot to go on.
You got Liam Hendricks from the A's, who's an absolute stud of a closer, but then you've got the starter out of Cleveland, and people were worried how they were going to respond with no Kluber. You got the starter out of Cleveland, Shane Bieber, 6-0 with a 1.35 ERA. That's my pick for AL Cy Young at the halfway point. This guy is absolutely dominating. He has got, his everything per nines are just amazing. The guy's been absolutely untouchable. He's had 7 starts and 6 wins, and a 1.5 ERA in the AL. I don't care who you're facing, where there's not a weak spot in the lineup. That's a great stat line.
It is, and Bieber's picking up a lot where, some of his, you said, Kluber left, and then Clevenger was supposed to kind of step up and be the next man up, and he's kind of been held off this year.
And he can't cooperate with COVID, man.
Hey, man, it's hard. It's hard to follow the rules.
Long hair don't care, dude.
Yeah, so Bieber's been stepping up. He's kind of living up to the hype that's kind of been brought up with him 2 years ago, I think it was. He was really highly touted.
It's crazy to see in an era where there's so much power pitching on every team, and you got guys like the Yankees, like the Cardinals for so many years, that every guy they brought up seems to throw 98, 99 with good break, and this guy's kind of a throwback. He throws mid-90s, 93 to 95, got a good slider, and he locates, and his location this year has just been untouchable.
Oh yeah, no, he doesn't miss over the heart of the plate, which is obviously if you're in the AL, you miss over the heart of the plate, it's going yard, it's going 420 every time.
especially those ballparks.
Yeah, exactly. So Bieber's like I think it's kind of him and the rest. I mean, the only one you could other one you could say would be like Lance Lynn in Texas, but Texas doesn't really have a good record.
No,
So
they don't.
like it's kind of like granted, I think Felix won this Cy Young when the Mariners were
He was like
kind of sub 500, weren't they?
He was 500, but he had a 2.5 ERA, something
Yeah,
like that.
Lance is actually getting wins. Like, I think he has 4, but I mean it's just the Rangers are just so terrible around him.
Yeah,
So it's
the
kind of like a
Rangers
Felix Hernandez thing.
The
there.
Rangers are pretty bad. They've struggled with injuries, and that's another thing we'll get into a little later. Let's move on. We're going to jump into the AL MVP. Now, with the AL MVP, there's been so many stories at AL of injury. The Yankees have just been bombarded with injuries. Their top 2 hitters are out with injuries. A lot of star players or guys that you thought were going to be star players are, not really playing at an MVP type level. You can say Trout's a great player. He's probably the best in the game still, but he's got a good average, but his team's not very good. And I don't care what anyone says, when you talk about MVP, you got to talk about a team that wins. And especially if it's close, obviously. And with a big surprise team, you got a guy by the name of Brandon Lowe, the second-year player out of Tampa Bay, the second baseman, and he's hitting just under 300. He's got good pop, got 10 home runs and 27 RBIs.
Yeah, Lowe's really stroking it.
And
It's really bad.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna go with the resurgence of Nelson Cruz.
Yes.
This dude is leading the Twins to the best record in the AL Central
At 40.
And this man is just a professional hitter.
I think, and of course, if you're talking AL MVP, you got to talk a guy like Jose Abreu, who also leads the league in home runs and RBIs at this point. But just how Lowe's been able to really just drive that Tampa Bay team to first place in the AL East. And I understand that the Yankees are dealing with a lot of injuries.
A lot.
But at the same time, they're taking advantage. They're doing what they were supposed to do. They came out and they took a series from the Yankees at Tampa Bay very recently, swept them, and really they created a little bit of space at 2.5 games at this point.
Yeah, no, it's man, the Rays they're so solid fundamentally, like they always are. They're exactly like the A's. They build the right way, they do everything right, and it's just they have a great team and very highly touted sports medicine, I guess, because they don't get injured.
No, they
every
don't.
single year.
They don't.
With the same injuries, as in I have 2 big muscles, so I'm going to pull every single one of them.
Every single one. I brought it up in my last podcast. I really think the Yankees need to look into their sports medicine department.
Oh, they need to fire the guy.
Because the fact that Giancarlo Stanton pulls his hamstring or pulls a bicep every single year right at the beginning, and those are, you can say what you want, and I understand he's a DH and he doesn't need to run very much, but there's so many muscle groups working in one swing, especially one as violent as Giancarlo Stanton, that you need everything to be right to be on the field. And I know the Yankees probably thought at this point that they could definitely, push past the injuries, get rested Judge and Giancarlo, but I'm telling you, they're going to have to push these guys back quick if they want a decent spot in the playoffs.
Well, yeah, they're going to have to play off the second. I think it's the top 2 division winners get in.
Yes.
Yeah. So as of right now, the Yankees don't have any competition. I think it's the Jays are 5 games back. And
yes.
So they're gonna make the playoffs. It's just they're not going. And you gotta question is home field is gonna matter a lot in these.
Well, they're thinking about
especially with Tampa Bay, who the Yankees hate playing on the Tropicana field because they get injured.
Hates.
Yeah, I hate that damn field. It is trash, and the Yankees get injured every single time they play there, and it's gonna be bad if they have to play a whole series down there in the Trop.
But like I said, you got to also talk about Jose Abreu, who leads the league in home runs and RBIs. What he's done in the middle of that White Sox lineup, especially over the last 5 or 6 games, during this amazing run that they're on, he's really just kind of setting the tone for the whole team, and they're hitting home runs at a massive rate that we haven't seen very recently. I mean, they're just unloading on the ball. 4 home runs a game, I think, in the last 3. Obviously, they have Tim Anderson and Yohan Moncada and all them. But Jose Abreu has really stepped up and proved to be the player that we all thought he was supposed to be last year.
Yeah, no,
and he took a huge step up this year.
Oh yeah, no, Jose Abreu's he's carrying that offense. Like he's making the Sox have like a legitimate chance to make the playoffs here.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
Like I mean, like he is the RBI leader. I think he's the average leader, isn't he?
In the AL, I think so.
Or at least for the White Sox. So it's like he's just carrying that team on his back. I mean, like obviously they have Lucas Giolito throwing the no hitter the other day.
Oh,
so I mean,
great.
Like, they got
good Pirates, but yeah,
there's just so many. There's so much talent on that team.
So much talent. All right, so we covered the AL Cy Young and the AL MVP. We're just going to cover those two awards because Silver Slugger is obviously the best average and all that, and you guys can just kind of watch that as we go along. But there's definitely been some amazing average numbers. But let's jump to the NL, okay? So we're going to go to the NL Cy Young Awards. So top of the list right now in ERA or one of the top lists that might surprise you. Max Fried, however you say it.
Trying to figure out his name. That's how well known he is.
Out of all the pitchers that Atlanta kind of picked up and kind of put together a nice, rotation. Max Fried, 5-0 with a 1.35 ERA, and really leading that staff. The guy you didn't expect, looking real good again. Great control, and that's the name of the game, especially in a league now that is so home run heavy and home run driven, that if you can locate these pitches, especially with the new swing angles, and you can keep the ball safe, you can have some success. But you need to locate because these hitters are too good nowadays to, miss. They don't miss.
Yeah, no, they don't miss. And like, you look at man, he is playing in probably the toughest division in baseball. He has to face Bryce Harper. He has to face like what?
Having a pretty good year.
What's up?
I say he's having a pretty good year, Harper.
Yeah, no, like he has to face like the Mets are a joke, but they can still score runs pretty easily.
They hit the ball really well.
Yeah, and then of course you got the Nationals that are still there, like Juan Soto. So I mean, like he has to face some nasty staffs.
Just nasty hitters, hitters, and especially with the way that the schedules are set up this year, where you're facing division-heavy schedules. There's not really an easy night for these guys ever. I do want to mention though, Yu Darvish is coming out. He's coming back alive.
It's been a while.
After 2 years of you really just thought he was dead.
He's a meme.
Yeah, exactly.
Turned into a meme in the playoffs.
He's not good, he hasn't been good. He comes out this year. He's 5-1 with a 1.7 ERA.
He is
nasty. Really driving that Cubs staff and keeping them in a lot of ball games. The Cubs have been absolutely fantastic this year. They've
been overperforming. We all thought they were gonna miss the playoffs.
Yeah, but they've just been an all-around good baseball team.
Yeah.
All around, they're just I would say the most well-rounded team the way they're playing this year. There's not a weak spot of their team.
No, it's just solid all the way around. It's probably the most like with the Brewers kind of falling off a cliff here.
Yeah.
Like no one saw that coming. Like their pitching just it's not there. Just like the Cubs have a solid pitching staff, which I didn't think they were gonna have, led by Yu Darvish here. Kind of leading the way, and like they're able to stay in a lot of games, and they honestly might surprise some people in the playoffs.
Oh yes,
because,
you got Rizzo who's playing really well this year.
Yeah,
a lot of people didn't think he was going to play because he is a cancer survivor. So shout out to him for playing through this pandemic and playing really well. Obviously they do have a player that's not playing too well. Chris Bryant's really struggled this year.
He wants that contract.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's a rough, especially with the baseball contracts, the way they are set up. They're set up than any other sport. It's what have you done, not what will you do.
Yeah.
So Chris Bryant's really, he's having a tough year, and these circumstances are affecting a lot of players, and Chris Bryant being one of them. Another player we got to mention in the NL Cy Young race has to be Trevor Bauer, who has the best strikeout rate out of any pitcher, with a team that he's not going to have the most wins. It's going to be kind of like a
It's another Felix.
Felix Hernandez situation because
not a lot of
the Reds are not good. The Reds aren't a good baseball team, but when Bauer steps on the mound, he can beat you. and the way that he's
Nasty
pitching,
hook.
yeah, his hook is looking fantastic this year. He's really, looked like he enjoys pitching in that ballpark in Cincinnati, and
a hitter-friendly ballpark.
And a hitter-friendly ballpark, and he's pitched the best. He's pitching the best he's ever had in his career, and looking very good doing it. And the one thing I really like about Trevor Bauer is every time he steps on the mound, you can tell he cares and he loves this game, and he goes out and he represents it the right way. Yes, he's a flair for the dramatic, and he loves to make statements mid-game or at the end of games. After that complete game he threw, the free Joe Kelly cleats and all that stuff. He loves making statements, man, and that's the great thing about this generation of baseball is they are vocal, they are loud, they tell you how they feel, and they have fun playing the game.
I think he's like kind of the pitcher version of because we see it hitting wise all the time, like Juan Soto, like Tatis pimps his home run. I mean Dietrich a couple years ago. Oh my God.
Yes.
Like he's Trevor Bauer's kind of like the pitching version of that. Where like if he strikes you out,
he's gonna let you know.
He's gonna let you know about
especially if you hit a home run off him.
Especially if it makes you look ugly.
Yeah, with that curve, and he makes a lot of people look ugly with that curve.
Just drawing lines in the sand. As soon as he strikes people out, it's just amazing.
Yes,
he's awesome.
He's a great pitcher and a great player and a guy that represents the new brand of baseball.
Yeah,
to the best of his perfectly to the best of his ability. And I mean, this season's been so fun to watch. Let's get on to the NL MVP. Now, obviously, the top, in my opinion, the top of this NL MVP conversation, and I think would get my midseason reward, has to be Tatis.
Yeah.
This guy from San Diego, this kid from San Diego, is an absolute savage.
He just hit one on the top of the Western Metal Supply building, I think today.
This guy is
literally hit the top of it.
This guy uncorks on everything he sees. If you make a mistake, he is so locked in right now. He will make you pay every time. Yeah. And again, he's a guy that has fun playing the game, and it just spreads to the rest of the team. And so when they get hot, that whole team gets very, very hot. And that's what you're seeing right now. I mean, San Diego is home of the Grand Slam, man. They all just hit bombs. And they love to walk it off.
Yeah, no, oh man, Tatis is just leading this team to some honestly the Padres kind of went all in this year, and I didn't think it was gonna pan out. I really didn't, but they are excruciatingly competitive. This year, you will not keep them down.
Second
they
place
are in every single game. Doesn't matter.
Second place in the NL West.
Yeah.
Obviously, they have Machado playing third, Tatis playing shortstop, so that side of the infield is completely locked down defensively. Yeah. You are not getting anything by them defensively on the left side of the field. But the fact that he's hitting, the fact that Tatis is hitting 13 home runs, 30 RBIs, has 30 runs, hitting 314, and playing fantastic shortstop defensively and being a leader on that team. I mean, you can't avoid this guy for MVP.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's other good numbers in the NL, another one being Charlie Blackmon. He's leading the league in average. I think he says 390, and but he only has 4 home runs.
Yes.
So Tatis has 13 in Coors.
Yeah, which is amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, and then someone like Mookie Betts, that's kind of an all-encompassing player, just because that's including his defense too.
Hitting 300, 11 home runs, 28 games. I mean,
you got to take into account how good the Dodgers are.
I would be the first one to say that was the guy that I completely missed on this year, 100%. Because I thought
he's away.
I thought Mookie Betts leaving Fenway Park, you were going to see the dip in average, you were going to see the dip in power. But honestly, his powers never looked better. He looks completely comfortable in LA at Dodger Stadium. He loves wearing the Dodger blue. That sucks for me because as a Giants fan, I have to watch him all the time now. As today, I mean, just whatever. Another player you got to talk about, though, and this is not me just being a Giant fan, but the fact that Mike Yastrzemski is coming out hitting 294, has 20 extra base hits and 23 walks. He's the most walked player in baseball this year.
Well, name another hitter on the Giants that's feared as him.
But his eye, I mean, the way he's
feared.
Yeah, he's completely feared in that lineup.
Yeah.
And he's really driven that Giants offense outside of today's game and the second game that we're just actually watching right now of the doubleheader, that Giants offense has been on fire. Before the loss today, they had won 7 in a row. They got back in the playoffs conversation. They are the last spot in the playoffs. If the playoffs were to decide today, the Giants were the last spot.
Yeah.
But you know what? I don't care because they are competing and they have one of the toughest schedules in baseball.
Yes, they do. They got to face this NL West is just littered with so much talent.
Yes.
And like the Giants got to run through it all. And like Yastrzemski, man, he's looking like the right field. He's right field, right?
He moves around, but yeah, most of the time he's playing right field.
Yeah, he's probably gonna be there for a while. They're gonna pay him buku bucks.
Yeah. He's older. He's a late bloomer. He's 30. He just turned 30 yesterday. But the fact that this kid's coming in and leading this lineup and getting these guys motivated and really doing what a vet should do to, make these guys believe, because, I mean, you look at the Giants lineup, name me 5 off the top of your head that aren't named Longoria. Belt and Crawford, outside Belt and Crawford and Longoria, you can't really name.
There's not a lot of
There's
teeth.
there's a revolving door at left field. In center, you really don't know who's stepping in there on a daily basis. Solano's played great, but Yastrzemski's been the one driving the squad and doing such a great job at it. So you have to mention him in there as well for NL MVP, and I love that he's on my team, man.
Yeah.
So that's who I got. So let's just recap. So for AL Cy Young, I had Shane Bieber. You had Bieber as well. AL MVP, I had. I'm going to change it. I'm going to go with Jose Abreu actually for my AL MVP.
Yeah, I'm gonna lean Nelson Cruz just because the record I think plays into it.
Okay.
For the MVP.
Okay, so Nelson Cruz for you.
Yep.
And then we're going to go NL MVP. I think we're both in agreement that it's Tatis.
It's Tatis, yeah.
100% with just what he does defensively and offensively.
Just the whole package.
Just
really
he's,
is.
Yeah, he's a great shortstop, and I think honestly he will go down as one of the best shortstops we've ever seen.
We're gonna look at a new face of the game here, like we saw like Harper and Trout type of thing. Like it's gonna be Tatis here in a few years.
Yeah, I mean the absolute poster boy for a 5-tool player.
Yeah.
And then AL MVP NL Cy Young. I'm gonna go with Trevor Bauer.
Yeah, I gotta go Fried.
You going Fried? Okay.
Once again, the Braves are leading the NL East, so
I like that pick.
Yeah.
So that's our recap for what we're gonna for our rewards or our awards. And I mean, baseball's been fun to watch, man, but it has not been without some massive disappointment from some teams that we really thought were gonna be good. So we're gonna go with our most disappointing teams so far this year.
Okay.
I'm going to start it off. I'm going to say for my most we're going to go AL, NL, all right?
Okay.
So for AL, we're going to start off. I'm going to go with the LA Angels of Anaheim. I mean, good God, they're in the last spot of their division. The AL West is, not great, but I mean, just the way they have played has been completely awful. I mean, Trout's been good again. Surprising. He's good. But he hasn't been playing at the AL MVP level that we thought we were going to see again this year.
If you're paying him that much money, he better be stroking Silver Slugger numbers every single year.
Exactly. Rendon started off with an injury, but now he's coming back. He's playing well too. But the same thing that we talked about before the season started, but the first time we thought the season was going to start, the Angels have 0 pitching, and it's showing again. Yeah. And, I mean, the fact that anyone thought this team was going to win with the way they pitched, I say they're my most disappointing team. I thought they were, I didn't think they were going to be good, but at the same time, I didn't think they were going to have 8 wins through the first half of the season.
I thought maybe they'd be in second place in the AL West. I honestly thought so, but just because, with Rendon, after what we had seen in the World Series, I'm sitting there going, okay, man. This guy, he's come out. He's ready to start playing, really at an MVP level. And it's just, with the injury, like you said, he's just not there.
No.
He's not, proven that contract yet.
No, not 100% not proven that contract. And I mean, to go along with, Pujols, I get it. Congratulations. Moved
Hey
up
man,
to,
it's
moved up
more
to
of a
second.
tour. It's more of a tour.
Moved up to second on the all-time RBI list,
Yeah.
but he's obviously a hole in that lineup.
He's a bench bat at best. I wouldn't even use
But
the
money
DH spot on him.
the money they're paying.
They're trying to
Shohei
justify
Ohtani, obviously, it's a real bummer that he couldn't pitch this year because he was having elbow issues again. But even his bat is just not good. He's struggling all around. He hasn't been there. And just combined, they're just not a good team. And I didn't think they were going to be the worst team in the AL. They are terrible.
Well, yeah, like that pitching was a glaring issue that they just ignored.
Yes.
They ignored it and tried to that tragedy last year with Skaggs. Like he was going to be their ace. Like that was a huge deal.
Yes.
Not just because like it's obviously a huge tragedy.
Yes.
But like he was going to be the ace, and then or they think maybe Ohtani was going to be the overall player, but obviously he's getting injured again.
Yes.
And it's just they don't have another pitcher.
No, they don't. They don't.
So it's just they are going out there and just getting stroked bad.
It's hard to win a game when you're sitting back and before you blink, you're down 5-0.
Yeah, and that makes Trout instead of trying to let the game come to him, he's trying to force it.
And you're seeing Trout extremely frustrated. I get in the series with the Giants where they got it was 3-1 Giants in the series, but I get you don't like your tower buzzed on multiple occasions, but at the same time it's from a rookie pitcher that has nothing to do with you. I don't think he was being thrown at, and he got frustrated. And I think what most of that frustration was just how the team was playing.
Yeah.
The team is not playing well at all, and it's starting to show. This guy wants to go to the playoffs, and they don't have a team around him, and they're locked up with contracts.
They are locked up. They're paying thank God they live in a big market. Because they need that money because of what they're paying Trout, what they're paying Pujols, what they're paying Rendon.
Ohtani's got a pretty fat contract.
Contract. They had to entice him over to the Angels.
And you have to pay just to talk to overseas players in baseball.
Exactly. So the Angels are spending so much money for mediocrity.
And getting,
it is crazy.
Not even mediocrity. They're getting zero return.
Mediocrity in this season will get you into the playoffs.
Yes. Like I said, the Giants are now 15-17, and they're the last spot in the playoffs.
But you know who my disappointment in the AL is?
Oh, let me guess. Is it from Houston?
It might be the Asterix down there in Houston. Oh my God.
The Houston Asterix?
Look at that second place record, 17-14. My God.
Now you have to remember they don't have Verlander. He
is
out.
Oh, they don't. Oh man, that sucks. Hey man, how's Altuve doing? Hey man,
not there.
Don't rip my shirt off. Don't rip my shirt off. Okay.
Bregman struggled. Altuve struggled.
Oh man, Springer's killing it too. Oh man.
Okay, that's where you're gonna go with that.
Down there.
You're gonna go with that. Okay.
Oh man.
All right.
It sucks. You hate to see it happen. That they're gonna be second place. Because the A's are whooping them.
Bad.
Horrifically bad.
I think another team you got to talk about at least in my opinion, for most disappointing, is the Boston Red Sox. Now I understand we all thought they were going to be bad.
I knew they were going to be terrible.
I knew they were going to be bad. I 100% knew it. But I didn't think there was a worse roster.
You don't lose Mookie Betts to get better.
I didn't think there was a worse roster in the league than the Baltimore Orioles. And Boston's going out and going, hold my beer. We are terrible. They have zero. No Chris Sale. Totally get it. But that does. You can get a win here and there. Do something.
Their pitching staff around Sale before, even when they were winning the World Series, it was questionable.
Yes.
I'd say the year after because Evaldi played well in the playoffs.
Yes.
But Evaldi, they paid him. Guess what?
Terrible.
Ain't anything. He is terrible. They're trying to justify him being a closer. They're trying to build the rotation around. He is not doing anything.
That whole team's not doing anything.
No, and Bogarts isn't he's supposed to be the best shortstop in the league. He's not playing well enough. And then
Verdugo they thought was going to be something.
Verdugo, Devers is doing well, but he's not playing at an MVP level, and neither is Jackie Bradley Jr. And JD Martinez is supposed to be carrying this team.
He didn't hit his first home run until 2 weeks ago.
So they are just
they're bad.
hamstrung.
Yeah, they're bad and they're struggling. So I definitely think they got to be in the conversation, but I don't think there's a more disappointing team in baseball besides the Angels. Now, Astros 100% deserve to be in that conversation because
Hey,
I thought they were
going
going
to the World Series.
I thought they were going to come out angry, and they came out and they
You
went
want to
the
talk
exact
about a
opposite
Tom
way.
Brady revenge tour?
They almost
could've
look like
done it.
they almost look like they're scared, man.
Yeah.
I mean, for multiple reasons. One being everyone knows they cheated, and the unwritten rules of baseball. You're getting one in the dome, which
Take your legs, son.
Hey, I'm 100% for it, to be honest with you guys.
Yeah. Baseball polices itself a lot of the
Yeah.
time.
100%.
Someone has to punish them.
So yeah, that's my most surprising team. If let's go positive now. Let's go. We're gonna go back to the positive. Most surprisingly good team. For me, definitely, it's kind of like I got like 3 teams in here. This is now. I'm gonna remind you guys that this is just like a whole league combined. I didn't split it between AL and NL. So
okay.
this is just like the whole thing. Whole league. But my most surprising team has to be the Oakland A's. The way they've come out and set the tone in the AL West has just been unbelievable. Chapman and Olsen have been driving that team, and you look at that team now, and what the difference between the past good A's team and the team now is the fact that you think the A's can really hold on to Chapman and Olsen for a while,
Yeah.
and maybe make an impact in the playoffs.
Yeah, they were kind of looking like. I mean, the last couple of years they've been like the plunky underdog.
Not anymore.
Like
Everyone.
trying to like just get in there, make a little noise, maybe I think they I can't remember last year. They beat the Rays. No, they lost to the Rays.
No.
Yeah, so like they've been a one and done team, wild card.
Yes.
But now, man, they are dominant. They are straight up dominant. They have probably the best closer in the game right now.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So like that's obviously going to be great playoff time, and it's just like I don't see a team.
They have
Yankees if they get healthy. Obviously, I believe in them, but like I
they're
don't
third
trust
in-
the Rays.
They're
but,
third in runs against.
Yeah,
third.
exactly.
They pitch
They're a great
unbelievable.
team.
Their run differential
around.
is like it's like plus 48. It's insane.
Yeah, like I don't see like other than a healthy Yankees team like standing in their way.
No.
I don't see it.
No. Another team you got to throw in there. Obviously, we covered them earlier, but another team you got to throw in there is the Tampa Bay Rays.
Yeah.
I get it. I totally understand. The Yankees are not the 100% Yankees.
They are.
They're not
crippled right now.
Yeah, they are 100% crippled. But at the same time, you still have to beat them when you go out there. They have a lot of young talent. Clint Frazier is an absolute beast. You're seeing that he's trying his best. But at the same time, Tampa Bay's gone out there and won the ball games they're supposed to.
Yeah.
And that's a quality that they haven't had in the last few years. They've always seemed to kind of struggle in the games they're supposed to win, and now they're winning those games.
Yeah, no, like they're built like a lot like the A's, building through their farm system.
Oh,
Whatnot.
100%.
But
Name the last big name free agent to go to Tampa Bay or Oakland for that matter.
Exactly. No, like so they're sitting there, they're being competitive. It's another thing like the plunky underdog. But they're leading the AL East right now. I don't think it's the same as the A's because I think the A's are a more complete team with more firepower.
Yes.
I don't see that from the Rays. I think they have good offense. I don't think it's great.
No.
So-
Hung-Man Choi at
Yeah.
first base.
Or yeah, exactly. Yeah. So like they're good. I don't see them. I see maybe they go deep in the playoffs. I don't think they go to the World Series. I don't think I don't think they represent the AL.
I could see that. And now I want to throw one more in there from the NL just to make sure the NL gets their dues because
We didn't even talk about the disappointments in the NL. You gonna talk about your Phillies?
I mean the Phillies.
Your boy
You know
Bryce
what?
Harper.
Let's jump back. We're gonna jump back to that. We'll jump back. Most disappointing team in the NL. We kind of skipped over it because the AL's been so bad, in my opinion.
Yeah, no.
Let's jump back to the NL real quick. The Phillies. Let's
Dear
talk about the
God.
Phillies. Again, Harper has adjusted his swing. He's played so much better. He's played a lot better. This is not his fault. But the problem is the fact that they have zero protection for this man. Zero. McCutchen. Oh, he had a good last year. We're coming off the torn ACL. Oh, he's going to be great. He's trash. Have we even talked about Hoskins at all this year? No, he's bad.
Remember him?
He's terrible.
Hey, Didi.
Awesome. Harper's back here just like, I'm trying, guys.
The third baseman got I think he got domestic
Ah,
violence, right?
ah,
So he was supposed to protect.
Who
Harper
knows,
in the
man?
lineup.
Who? You mean Philly? I mean Bryce is just in there like, man, you guys pay me $300 million a year. Can you, or $300 million? Can you give me some help to get you to the playoffs? I mean, this guy's shortened up. I mean, he just Bryce Harper in the last few weeks has developed this two-strike approach where he doesn't take a step anymore, and he's still strong enough to hit it out. He's looked really, he's adjusted this year mid-season, which is Harper's really struggled with mid-season adjustments.
Yeah.
This year he's made them very quick and not been afraid of them and
Yeah.
stepped up. But the rest of the Phillies suck. They're terrible.
It's bad.
They're so bad. And Bryce Harper is my favorite player in the league. I have no bones about it. This man is
He's
my
looking
favorite
worth
player.
that money.
He is fucking trying, man. God, give him some help. The thing in baseball,
He's just
you
seen
guys,
nothing but curveballs and sliders.
if you guys aren't a big baseball fan, the thing in baseball is I don't care how good of a hitter you are. If there is no one protecting you in the lineup, like Yastrzemski, for instance, right? There's nobody protecting you in the lineup. They're just gonna pitch around you.
Yep.
You're not gonna see a pitch to hit in an at bat because they're like, oh yeah, let's walk Bryce Harper. He's not the fastest player in the league. Who gives a shit? Right?
Put him on first. That's fine.
And that's
He
what's
needs to go
happening in
ground-
Philly. That's
Next
what's
guy's grounded into a double play.
That's what's happening in Philly, and that's what they're struggling about, and they need to figure it out, man. I thought Kepler was the problem. It doesn't seem like Kepler's the problem. I was wrong there. Kepler's taking this Giants team that, I mean, nobody knows and making
Took
them
him a while
stay.
to call up Bart, but
Yeah.
I mean, anyone can make that mistake.
Yeah, whatever.
So
Yeah. All right, but most surprisingly good team, I would say, or at least average team in the NL, or the team that's shocking everybody, has to be the Miami Marlins.
they're in it. They're second place.
They're like, I mean, just above 500. They fight, claw, get Corona.
It ain't pretty.
Get Corona, do whatever they got to do, and win the fucking game.
Dude, the Marlins. The Marlins are just a.
I mean,
It's just a funny story. Like
Sixto Sanchez is coming out of nowhere.
so
Rookie.
many pitchers.
Just
Like they're just using everyone. They're seeing what sticks.
Derek Jeter's over here like, man, I
Told you
thought we were
guys.
gonna suck for a couple more years, but I mean they're grabbing everyone's leftovers and putting the team together. I mean, Jonathan Villar, he's still over there. I mean, it just doesn't make sense. But I
No,
mean,
the team makes no sense on how. Obviously, this isn't. I don't think it's going to be sustainable in
No,
the playoffs. But it is such a fun story to see the Marlins come out here and just be second place in the NL East. Like, who would have? Like, I think everyone saw the Braves probably winning the division, but
yeah,
the Marlins second.
whooping
I
up
don't
on
know
the
about that.
whooping up on the Phillies on multiple occasions.
Yeah, like just drop kicking the Mets. Like,
Yeah,
it's
just
bad.
It's just bad.
But
But
Marlins are doing good though.
I
so.
do want to say baseball has been immensely fun. I'm not advocating, though, for a 60-game season or a reduction in season. Baseball is meant to be played in series, and 162 games is perfect, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, with this Corona thing, this sprint to the playoffs has just been fantastic.
It's been exciting to watch.
Fantastic.
I cannot wait for the playoffs to start. Obviously, like it seems like the only consistent thing here are the Dodgers just destroying people.
That's why, but that's I mean, we
they
all
were-
knew
they
they
do
were
it
gonna
every
be good.
year,
We
so.
all knew they were going to be good.
Yeah.
Did I think they were going to be this good? No.
No.
I couldn't. I would never guess that they were going to be this good. The pace that they're putting out there is unbelievable. The only team that they struggled to beat, or that are about 500, the Giants for some reason.
Yeah.
Giants are 500 in the split this year with them, with a good amount of games already against each other. That's why the Giants have had such a tough schedule, but because they've had the Dodgers, about 10 times already. But I mean, the fact that these guys are just going out and whooping every other team and not making it close, they're definitely going to be in the hunt for the World Series. I would be surprised if they didn't win it
I
this
would
year.
be shocked if they didn't get to the World Series and win it.
And win it.
They're
100%.
probably the most complete team.
Yeah. Obviously, when the playoffs start, we're gonna do the same thing.
What happens when Kershaw gets out there?
Yeah. I mean, he put up a gem today.
Hey man, maybe Dave Roberts believes in him again.
Yeah.
He has to prove it every year just to throw him out there and just watch him throw the game.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, as we get closer, when the playoffs start in baseball, we will definitely do a full breakdown of the full bracket, and I'll have Cody back on. We'll break it all down. We'll give you our who's going to win it all. But for right now, baseball is killing it. Basketball playoffs have been fun. Just with the last 2 days, there hasn't been really much to talk about sports-wise over there. And like I said, this is a sports-only show. So whether you like it or you don't, deal with it, because that's how it's going to stay as long as I'm doing it. So thank you guys for listening. I appreciate it. Next week, we will break down some more. I'm going to get into some UFC news. 253 is a little far out right now, but it's really developing into being a great card. So we're going to get into some UFC stuff. Hopefully basketball is back with everything going on, and we can break down further into the playoffs. But right now my picks are looking fantastic.
Yep.
So, whatever. And baseball, obviously we're going to keep up on baseball because they're doing the damn thing. Sports has been fun. I appreciate you guys listening. Have a great weekend.